Hey, good morning, YouTube, and all you knife addicts out there. Time for another knife talk, where we just talk about different patterns and different styles of knives. This one is the knife that is commonly referred to as a Sodbuster. Sodbuster is a classic design knife where you have a curved body. It's slightly thinner in the middle, a little thicker here, and even thicker and more curved on the end. The blade is typically a drop point style blade. We'll get into that in a few moments. This particular one is made by Queen. It was made in 1978. They called it the Plainsman. There's not much of an edge left on this. I'll see if I can get it, but I can only see it when the light is just perfect on it. This knife is a used knife. It was fairly heavily used. It had some problems with where the back spring met the blade tang. When I first got the knife, I took it apart, made some repairs, and I rehandled it in walnut, which I think turned out very nice. The handles turn out better than the rest of the knife, really, but I have some green G10 liners under that. But yeah, so it looks pretty. It doesn't have good snap, and again, it had to do with that spring tension, or spring, the way the spring met up there. It was warped, which is something I've never seen before. But anyway, this is designed to be a working man's knife. It's based loosely off some of the old Roman clasp knives, which did not have a back spring, so they've added a back spring to these. Some other knives like the Navaja and some of the Spanish knives, some of the others trace their roots back to that similar design. So it's made to be a working man's knife, an inexpensive knife. Again, in the U.S., we call them Sodbusters, which refer to farmers. Some people refer to it as a miner's knife because I think a lot of coal miners and people like that would have the Sodbuster. And some other countries, the names refer to like a vintner's knife, or someone who works in in the wine, not the wine fields, but in the grape vineyards. In other countries, they have different names for them. I think Germany, it may be referred to as a pastor's knife, which would be a shepherd. So yeah, it's definitely for people who are tied to the earth, people who spend their time working with their hands, and that's what that knife refers to. Here is a version of it that is by Case. It's the Sodbuster Junior. As you see, it's a good deal smaller. Same classic design. This one has jigged bone handles, though. It's a used knife, but it is a very nice knife, and I really like this one. I enjoy carrying it on occasions. So it's a pretty one, which is kind of funny since they're designed to be a working man's knife, but not really originally designed for looks. But that one was made to be pretty. So I've got a couple of other examples of these, but I don't have them with me. They're in my shop waiting on repairs. I have a case with that's a Sodbuster Junior with the classic black plastic handles. That's what the majority of these are going to have. I've got another Queen with a broken back spring. It's a Sodbuster Junior, but it has yellow synthetic handles. And I wished I had those here to show you. But anyway, that's the only two Sodbusters that I have right here that I can show during the knife talks. So I thought I would bring in their cousins, and we'll talk about those too. These, what we call a peasant's knife, or a clasp knife, or friction folder. A friction folder is a similar knife. It just does not have a back spring. Here is one that was sent to me. It's by Svord, Svord. That is a company out of New Zealand. I doubt that you'll be able to read it, but it says so right there on the blade, New Zealand Svord. This is one of the oldest knife designs. Again, it goes back to ancient Rome, where you just have the handle, you have the blade, the pivot, and there is no back spring. So in this case, when the knife is closed, and this one's a little larger, you really need a sheath, but you have this tang, the back of the tang sticks out here. When you open it, that becomes part of the handle. It folds into the handle slightly. Of course, my lanyard makes it stick out a little bit, but then that gives you a very good, very, very handy knife. These knives, I think, were actually designed before pockets were designed. So they are older than pockets, and this is what people used to carry. Again, going back to the old Roman times when they first developed a folding knife. And the Savoard they're very good knives, very sturdy, and I love those. But again, there's no back spring. It just opens and closes. Here is the most common of the peasant knives or friction folders. Again, there's no back spring. This is an Opinel. This is an Opinel number 8 with carbon blades. I just got this one, and I do love the Opinels. This one is unused. Again, this, you open it up, and they have a little collar that twists that locks the blade in place, so it becomes a lock blade. At this point, like I say, very useful knife. They're very lightweight, very, fits in the hand very well with these rounded handles. Some people will modify these, which is perfectly fine. But again, they fit the hand very well the way they are. And I like the fact that the Opinel have that locking ring. There are some others out there that have that, and I really enjoy these knives. In fact, these make good kitchen knives. If you don't have a good way to store your kitchen knives, if you're one of these people who just set them in a drawer, and the blades, as the drawer moves, they bump each other, you get little nicks and dings in the blade, and they get dull very quickly, you might try investing in a set of Opinels. They make them in a lot of different sizes. Some of the larger ones make great kitchen knives. And again, they fold into that handle, and you don't have to worry about them dinging around in the drawer, getting all messed up. Here is another very old design, and I'm probably going to butcher the name on this one, but it's a Higonokami. I think it's a Japanese knife. This is made. There's a family that makes these traditionally. That I think they're into several generations of knife making now. But it has the little tang similar to the Savoard. Although this one has like a thumb stud on it. And the blade is reminiscent of a Tonto style blade, except it's a little bit upswept. These, again, have been made for generations. They have a lot of different styles. This one has stainless steel handles. You can get them with brass or even gold plated. Again, the only name on this one is in Japanese, in kanji. So I don't read Japanese script, but I do love this design. These things are scary sharp from the factory. Again, like most knives, you don't have a little close secondary bevel. The main bevel just goes all the way to the edge, reminiscent of the old Japanese katanas that the samurais carried. Not that this is like those, but just the way it's sharpened, the way it has comes to a very thin edge. And man, these are great little knives. Again, thin in the pocket. You do have that little tang that sticks out. But if you're okay with that, those make wonderful, wonderful pocket knives. And I just like them for their uniqueness. And my last one I'm going to show you is technically not a knife, but I found this in an antique store very inexpensively. It says Wholesome Shoes. And I believe this was... from the McCardle Shoe Company, 101 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia. And this folds up like a knife, and it would be a clasp type, but it is a button hook for ladies' shoes. Years ago, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, women's shoes buttoned together, and it's hard to get those little buttons, so they made the button hook. I'll try to hold it so you can see that white background. They had little button hooks that they could use to button their shoes together with. And that's a folding one, which is just kind of unique. When it folds up here, you have again, I'll try to hold it so you can see it. You have the hook right there. It's actually where you can hang it up on something if you wish to, or again, it's small enough to fit into a pocket, just like a pocket knife. So this is a specialty thing it works like a clasp knife or a friction folder because there is no back spring. So that's my meager collection of Sodbusters and their ancient predecessors, the clasp knife or friction folder. So that's all I've got for today. Thank you, YouTube. I hope y'all keep enjoying this channel. I appreciate all the positive comments, and y'all have a great day. God bless you.